Aw yes. Mega Man. I got really into the Mega Man series for a while, back near the start of the year. I covered the first game, bought the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1 and 2, and spent literally countless hours watching reviews, retrospectives, and that 2-part Kid Icarus special where he plays all the 10 classic series games back to back. After I took a look at Mega Man 2 all the way back in March, I was honestly really excited to continue on with the series, but it just never ended up happening. I liked Mega Man 2, but it took a lot out of me, and there just never really seemed to be a good time to hop back in with Mega Man 3. I tried a couple of times, but honestly Mega Man games are so punishing, you pretty much have to be in a specific kind of mood to play one, and for whatever reason, it just never seemed to happen. And then, as if lightning, inspiration struck. I think it's time we took a look at Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 had some big shoes to fill. Mega Man 2 is pretty much the golden child of the classic series of Mega Man games and is certainly the class favorite of the original NES hexology. However, a perfect game Mega Man 2 is not. Far from it. It took the solid and interesting concepts laid out in the first game and improved on them in almost every way, and it's a much better game for it. However, it was still plagued by some very fundamental poor design decisions, some of which I would argue are even more prevalent in the sequel than in the original game. As such, I was genuinely really excited to see just how Mega Man 3 improves on the existing gameplay. Mega Man 3 will once again see you facing off against 8 Robot Masters, and by extension, there are 8 stages. You can take on the Robot Masters in any order. When you beat one, you get their weapon, and every one of them is weak to another's attack. Mega Man also retains the same basic moveset from 1 and 2. He can still jump and shoot, but 3 also gives him a new move for the first time ever, the slide. I wasn't a huge fan of the slide at first. Honestly, it wasn't very intuitive to me, and since I chose Magnet Man's stage to start with, I was immediately met with a mini-boss fight that made pretty heavy use of it. One of the things that actually inspired me to finally complete the game was playing Doggerai, a game that uses a nearly identical slide mechanic and does a much better job of teaching it to you. After that, the slide made a lot more sense to me and is all around a pretty decent if forgettable upgrade. As for movement in general, it's pretty much exactly the same as in previous games. In hindsight, Mega Man does have a bit more traction on platforms, which is certainly appreciated, but I didn't really notice it until it was pointed out to me and I actually started looking for it. As I mentioned previously, I'm not a huge fan of the way Mega Man controls in any of the games, and he's still way too heavy, but we have made a lot of progress since the first installment. So how are the stages? Well, if you're one of the many people who enjoyed the normal mode in Mega Man 2, much harder. Mega Man 3, for whatever reason, decided to remove the difficulty options, so you're stuck playing on hard mode. Besides that, the levels visually are a big improvement over the second game, which itself was a big improvement over the first game. This game looks really good. I think it's awesome that they went through all the trouble of designing entirely unique enemies and bosses for every game, despite all sharing the exact same art style. This is something Metroid does, but it's kind of forced to in order to be world accurate. There was absolutely nothing stopping Capcom from using the same few sets of robot baddies 6 games in a row, but I'm definitely glad they decided not to. Unfortunately though, gameplay-wise, the main 8 stages feel like a noticeable step down from the standards set by the second game. I praised Mega Man 2 for its much fairer enemy placement and its seeming aversion to death by knockback, but it seems like old habits die hard because Capcom is back up to its old tricks. Enemies that jump up all around the screen and are nearly unavoidable, tight platforming sections on moving platforms with enemies everywhere, and maybe some of them are easier to deal with using the Robot Master's special abilities, but to be honest, I never really had much interest in using any of them. Most of the special weapons are really pretty much useless or don't have enough weapon energy to be worth much. I know Mega Man 2 catches a bit of heat for how OP the metal blades are, but I spent way more time using the other weapons than I ever did in 1 or 3. As such, I generally found the boss fights to be much less interesting this time around. Well, the original 8, that is. You see, once you make it past the initial 8 stages, you're introduced to something entirely new to the franchise, the Doc Robot levels. Each level is sort of like 2 Robot Master levels combined into one, each one containing 2 boss fights. The awesome thing about these stages, though, is you actually get to rematch the original 8 Robot Masters from Mega Man 2. How cool is that? They have the same patterns as before, but this time around you get to try and fight them with Mega Man 3 weapons, which is such an awesome concept. These levels are, in my opinion, the hardest in the game, however, because most of them offer few to, in one notable case, actually no checkpoints. And they once again return with the classic Mega Man 2 problem. I respawned at a checkpoint with several lives left, but I don't have enough weapon energy for a power I need to get through the rest of the stage, so I'll just have to get a game over. I'm not going to go too deep into these issues in this video. I actually have something interesting on that front coming up in the very near future, so hopefully if that's something you're interested in, you'll stay tuned for that video within a couple of weeks. The Doc Robot stages definitely left a bit of an unpleasant taste in my mouth, so I was quite nervous going into the Wily Fortress. Historically, Wily Fortress stages have been the worst part of the past two games, and quite frankly, if they were any worse than the Doc Robot stages, they would have been on track to become an all-time new low point. So imagine my surprise when the Wily stages in Mega Man 3 turned out to be some of the most fair, balanced, and well-designed levels that I have ever played in any Mega Man game. Yeah, I'm talking about generous energy drops and E-tanks to prevent game over grinding, tough but entirely fair level lengths and checkpoints, legitimately good bosses, the return to the boss gauntlet from the first and second game. By the way, unpopular opinion, I actually really enjoy boss gauntlets when they're well balanced and fair. And the final boss takes place in a separate level than the final boss gauntlet this time. So if you get a game over during the fight, you don't have to do the entire gauntlet all over again. Like, the Wily stages are just really good. It's like at the very end of the game, they suddenly remembered that this game was going to be compared to Mega Man 2 and decided to try and one-up themselves. And honestly, it kind of worked. Like, Mega Man 3 feels much less polished. Mega Man 2 was honestly really smooth around the edges. Its difficulty and fairness level was much more predictable, and honestly, the quality of the game was way more consistent than in Mega Man 3. However, Mega Man 3 brings so many really awesome new ideas to the table that it's honestly quite hard to write it off as being worse than the second game. Let me put it like this. The average quality of gameplay in Mega Man 2 is higher and more consistently high than the average quality of gameplay in Mega Man 3. However, in my opinion, the absolute high points of Mega Man 3 surpass any of the high points of Mega Man 2, and the low points of Mega Man 3 are nowhere near as bad as the worst parts of the second game. And there are so many other things I love about Mega Man 3. The awesome level themes and enemies. The concept of rematching old Robot Masters. It's all so cool. Mega Man 2 is objectively the more solid game, but I think I had more fun with 3. So, should you play Mega Man 3, or are you better off sticking with 2? Well, that's a bit of a trick question. What you really need to do is go buy the Mega Man Legacy Collection. It's a mere $15 on PC, Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo 3DS, but it regularly goes on sale for half off. It has all 6 original NES Classic Series games, and is otherwise a fantastic compilation. Give it a buy, and give Mega Man 2, 3, and I would even argue 1 a try. It's a pretty good deal. I'm really excited to start talking about Mega Man games again. I had a lot of fun with this video, and like I mentioned earlier on, I have something really special and really exciting planned for probably not this week, but hopefully next week, so keep your eyes peeled for that. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to obviously drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, if you're looking forward to that video I mentioned, and share this video around with your family and friends, anybody who you think might enjoy it. It really helps out a ton. If you haven't already, join my Discord server. We got some really awesome stuff going on over there. It's a pretty fun place to be, so I suggest you hop over there. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, any other social media will all be linked down below. And I guess that's about all I've got for you. As always, thanks for watching.